All right, so here we're in the profile screen. Right when the profile screen loads, the first thing that it does is that it goes out to the server asking, which profile am I supposed to render? But notice that we don't have that endpoint on the server, so let's head over to the server and let's implement that. Okay, so here in the server, we are in the user controller. Let's handle that post asking for the current profile. So here's the post mapping. We're going to map it to profile, and what we'd like to be able to do is find out what the current profile is. So what should we return here? What should we return? We know we have users stored in the database, right? Because we have been able to successfully register them, right? But which one should we return, right? We don't know which one we should return, right? Because there's no mechanism here for the server to know that I just registered, right? I should be listed as the current user, right? And once I navigate to the profile page and I'm coming, I've sent the register function endpoint, and now I'm sending the profile. You should be able to remember, hey, it's still me. I just did the register. Why don't you remember me? But notice that there's no way that we have stored this new user, right? So we need a mechanism to be able to remember these things. Okay. So what we're going to do to be able to remember these things is that we're going to use a new API. It's called the HTTP Session API, and to do that, to use the HTTP Session API is we use a new. We can ask for an instance of the HTTP session by just asking for it in the function. So now when our function gets called, right, it's going to create a new object, a new session object is going to pass it to us here, right, so that we can store and remember things between requests. Remember, HTTP is a stateless protocol, right? There's no way for the server to distinguish that this is still you. It could be anybody from thousands of people that are hitting the server simultaneously. There's no mechanism for HTTP to distinguish one from the other. Instead, session uses cookies. Cookies is beyond the HTTP protocol. It's a contract between a browser and a server that the server will create a unique identifier, a token that the client can agree to store on behalf of the server, and then pass that same token over to the server every time that the request comes in. And then the server can use that token to keep track of these instances of the session, right? So that if I am the same person that just registered, right, you're going to give me a token so that next time I come in with a profile, I'm going to pass you that same token, and so that I can use the same HTTP session over here in this profile, right? And I can have the same exact session that was used earlier, right? And we can use this session. We can store things in the session that are peculiar or particular to me or to you or anybody who is providing this cookie back and forth, right? So that if I log in and I register and then I look up the profile, it'll be my profile. And if you do it, then it'll be yours. So everybody gets a different session, right? With my cookie, I get one session, and with your cookie, you get a different session, right? And whatever we store in there, it'll be particular to our particular cookie, right? So now that we have the session, we can store things in there. So for instance, after having inserted the user, what we could do is store that user in the session using the set attribute function. We can say set attribute. We can store it in we can use it as a hash table. We can store it, keyed off of a string, and we can use whatever string we want. I'm going to call it profile, and I'm going to put the new user. I'm going to put the new user in that keyword profile, so that after and later on when you come back with a profile, I can use the same exact session to retrieve the profile from the session using the get attribute, and I know that I put it in a key called profile, right? And I'll need to cast it back to the original data type user, right? And then once I have it, I can send back the profile. See that? Okay. There you have it. So using a session, you can store information that's specific to me, to you, to anybody, right? As long as you can guarantee that the cookie is the same going forwards and backwards, right? You'll always get the same session. All right, so let's try it out.